Yes, yes.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So last week, lottery scamming activities made the headlines again when we heard about an allegation of a female JCF officer who was alleged to be or said to be the mastermind of a local scamming ring. Here to break down these activities for us and to tell us a little bit about what's happening in that space is the head of CTOC, Senior Superintendent Anthony McLaughlin. Good morning, sir, and welcome to Smile Jamaica. It's good to have you.
Good morning, Simone. Good morning, Delia. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I feel like we never really have this on the, we know it's been going on, but it hasn't been front page for a little while. Am I right? And is that because the activities have kind of waned a little bit, or is it just that investigations have been going on a little more clandestinely than we know?
Well, we have been doing a lot of investigations into lottery scamming activities. So although you may not have been hearing a lot about it in the media, the police have never relented on their investigations. So, it's not one of the things that will make a lot of news, but we are doing, the best that we can to get rid of this situation.
Are we making headway, Sue? Because like Simone said, there was a time when we would hear so much of it happening. Because we haven't heard, we feel like, okay, the police have made a breakthrough and it is not as prevalent. But is that the case? Is it still very prevalent here in Jamaica?
It is very much prevalent in Jamaica.
Wow.
In fact, it is probably more prevalent than it was a couple of years ago, because a couple of years ago, it was concentrated mainly in the western parishes, St. James, Westmoreland, Hanover. But right now, it is right across Jamaica.
So why are we not hearing more about it, Senior Soup?
Because it's probably not one of the, I would call it, sexy topics that the media would carry. But we are doing a lot, because last year, the Lottery Scamming Task Force conducted over 100 operations, and 48 persons were arrested. And these statistics doesn't account for the operations that MOCA did, what the other divisions did, and what the Transnational Crime Investigation Unit did. So from the Lottery Scamming Task Force, over 100 operations were carried out. So it is something that the JSF has been looking at, and we have been doing a lot, taking persons to court, and we have been getting some good results.
Tell me a little bit now. It sounds to me, Senior Soup, almost as if it's evolved. Because initially when we just heard about it, we thought, okay, it's just a couple of men and women, making these phone calls. But it sounds like it's become so much more organized in terms of lists, in terms of who now is becoming a part of it. Because now we hear about, this policewoman allegedly being a part of it. Is it evolving into a different type of, I don't want to use the word animal, but that's the word I'm going to use. Yeah.
Yes, it has evolved, and it is, unfortunately, very lucrative and attractive to many people. And when we say many people, we're talking about all age group, all different professions, because you find persons benefiting from the proceeds of lottery scamming.
Wow.
So they are now moving from their communities, and they are renting hotel rooms, they are renting Airbnb, they're moving into gated communities. So it's a little bit more difficult to spot them. But it has become, a little bit more sophisticated, and the persons are able to be involved in lottery scamming and hide what they are doing.
Yeah.
But once, especially within the gated communities, it's easy to identify those persons who are doing the lottery scamming, because those persons, they don't work otherwise, and then you see them driving these luxury vehicles. And some of the vehicles are the Toyota Crowns, the Mark X, BMW, Benz. And when you see a young man, say 18, 20, in his early 20s or 30s, and have never had an 8 to 5 job, and all of a sudden you see them driving these high-end vehicles, then that's a sign to show that they are involved in lottery scamming in many instances.
I want to ask you, Senior Soup, how much of a finger we have on this, right? Because if this policewoman was not held until she went to the States, and she's doing this in Jamaica among her own ranks, were we aware? Did we know? What does that say about how we are tackling this in Jamaica? I don't know how much you can comment on without revealing too much, but that is my question, and a question that people would have. If she's in the force and she's doing this, and the force said they're investigating lottery scamming, then how do they never know?
You see, lottery scamming is a clandestine activity, and you don't have to be involved. And when I say involved, I mean making the calls. Or even if you're making the calls, it's not something that somebody will readily see, because you can go just about anywhere. As I said, people rent hotel rooms, go Airbnb, or find somewhere private where they can make these calls. So it's not something that you will readily see.
Right.
So it is possible that, she would have been involved for, I don't know how long she has been involved without the police.
Being aware.
Of it.
But you spoke to something in terms of different levels as well, because not everyone makes calls. Some people are producing lists.
Lead sheets.
Some people are
Right.
the lead sheets. Some people are showing them how to move the money.
Right.
Are we capturing all levels? Because sometimes when I see somebody arrest, I feel like it's a lot of the people who make the calls we're holding on to. But what about those who are processing the funds and creating the lead sheets? And are we capturing those big players in
Yes.
We are.
Yes, we are. And what the Jamaica Constabulary Force has been doing, that we sit at the table with MOCA and our external stakeholders, the United States, Canada. And each month we look at the trends, we look at some of the key players, and we have moved at them, and we continue to carry out operations around these persons.
Yeah. Senior, so can you, I know you folks have a media arm, no?
Yes.
So all the information you're giving us this morning and telling us about the progress you're making and the 100 arrests you made last week, let us know. Jamaicans are very interested in this, and we want to know that we are trying to stamp out this scourge. So please have your folks disseminate the information so we can know what's going on, and update us regularly, not just when a story makes the front page like it did this week or last week, so we can know of the ongoing efforts of the JCF to curb this illicit activity.
Yeah. I want to point out that this police officer in question has been under scrutiny for a number of years.
Oh.
So the arrest may have happened now, but I think the evidence gathering was very important. And so,
You see, one of the things to Daly and Simone is that we tend, and it's a cultural thing, we tend to look at the men, what they drive, and it's easy to see when they transition from poverty into some wealth, but we tend to overlook the women because it's quite natural for women to dress nicely and drive a nice car, if they work, so it's difficult sometimes to identify the women who are involved in crime.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that, based on what we have seen so far, not only with lottery scamming, but women are involved in just about every crime that you can think of.
Human trafficking, everything.
And it's exactly because of what you just said, is because they're the least likely to be thought to be doing that. That's very interesting.
And them want nice things and want...
Daily, we need a PhD study on this, thanks.
I think there's a lot happening at UA.
Gender and lottery scamming and gender and crime.
There's a lot happening at UA.
Yeah.
Sir, thank you so much. And thank you for the work that you and your team continue to do.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Head of
easy and dangerous. Yeah.
Head of the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Unit, Senior Superintendent of Police of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Anthony McLaughlin. Art and NFTs. We discuss that after this quick break, so please stay with us.